Welcome to the podcast, Sister Wives, a red flag rewatch. This is a podcast for disenchanted fans of Sister Wives, fans who fell in love with the Brown family, watched their precious kids grow up, and became enchanted with all the love, only to be told it was all a lie. Nothing was as it seemed. We were bamboozled, fooled, duped, tricked, conned, swindled, hoodwinked. What did we miss? Where did it go wrong? Come help me find out as we watch from the beginning. Hey, welcome back. My name is Wanda Sassy Britches, and my puppy over here beside me is Lady Snifflebum. And today we're going to discuss Season 1, Episode 4 of Sister Wives. This originally aired October 10th, 2010. And the episode description says Kody's fiance Robyn helps out with the kids while Kody and his pregnant third wife Christine go to the hospital. She's a week overdue. They must make an important decision on whether or not to induce labor. It starts out when they're showing Truly's pretty crib. Little pink crib is pretty. And it's sitting right in front of the gun safe. I mean, America, baby, America. But I looked up how much this gun safe costs, and it's over $9,000. I don't know if that's what he paid or not, but I thought that was interesting. Christine says, so even though she's not born yet, Truly loves everybody in the family. She loves them all. And she goes insane when Kody comes in the room. It shows Kody holding Christine around her belly, and the kids are touching Christine's belly. And Gwen is looking at Kody's watch, and I couldn't get a good enough look at that watch to figure out what that watch was, but she's looking at it like, look at that big shiny thing. But her saying things like she loves them all and she goes insane when Kody comes in the room, I think she's just trying to serve his ego, because she's saying how much the kids love him and he's loving it. He's just soaking it up. He's got that big goofy grin on his face. She knows how to butter him up. Anyway, Janelle says, I was surprised when Christine said she was going to have another one. I'm like, what? Because Christine had a miscarriage. I guess it was maybe a year ago. She got up in the middle of the night and actually hemorrhaged. It was really scary. She could have died. And we discussed this in the last episode, that Janelle says here she could have died. And yet Kody says, and I quote in the last episode, I love the fact that Truly is a girl because I knew there was a chance we might get one more, because Christine might try again for a boy. So Janelle is saying Christine woke up in the middle of the night and actually hemorrhaged. It was scary. She could have died. And I told you how mad that made me, that Kody don't care about Christine. Janelle's the only one that cares about Christine. Christine says, we're just going to see if I wanted to be induced. According to the ultrasound and according to their records, I was due a week ago. They have to decide whether or not I get induced. And these people knew they were going to get induced, because here they are in a labor and delivery room. You can see it. It's a hospital room to deliver a baby in. This wasn't like a doctor's office visit. They knew what was going to happen. And over in the corner, you see Christine's purse. And that is the only thing they brought with them. Again, just living in the moment. They didn't bring any clothes. They didn't bring anything for Truly. They didn't bring nothing. Christine just brought her purse and a notebook. You knew there was 100% chance that you were going to have this baby, and you were not ready at all. Why else would Christine be in a gown in a labor and delivery room? You're going to get induced, or else your butt wouldn't be sitting in that bed. Christine says, so I'm just nervous. Babysitting has been taken care of. Robyn's going to come over and take charge. Robyn says, so I ran over and grabbed Janelle and Christine's kids and took them over to my house, and we had a Pawtay. PAW-TAY party is what she's trying to say, and she's trying to be funny about it. This made you think that they brought Robyn up too because they knew Christine was going to be out of commission because she was having Truly. That may have been one of the reasons they brought her up, because they needed somebody to watch the kids, because Meri was working at this time and Janelle was working at this time. So somebody needed to watch the kids. She says, from my 3 kids to 15 kids, it's overwhelming sometimes because I'm going, whoa, there's a lot of needs here. But coming from a broken family myself and having a stepfather embracing me as his daughter, so it's easy to extend that. It's very natural to some of these children that aren't my biological children. And here's cry number 5. And she's crying because she's remembering stepdaddy Paul stepping in. And she's talking about she comes from a broken family. And what is this broken family? Let's analyze this for a minute. This broken family is a mother who left her father and got a new stepdaddy. And isn't this the exact same situation that she's putting her family into? So is her family considered a broken family? So I just thought that was interesting, and I wonder if she sees it that way. So next, Meri says, who says where the line is drawn of who you can love? I always wanted 8 kids, and that's just what I expected to have. It took us 5 years to get Mariah, and 3 years ago I did get pregnant just out of the blue, and it was a wonderful surprise. And then I miscarried that baby. So there were only 2 pregnancies I've ever had, my daughter and my miscarriage. That's sad, but we can keep mentioning this over and over. Like she's trying to validate why she doesn't have more kids. We know she couldn't have any more kids. We just have to mention it every single episode. Kody is saying, okay, do you want to lean back here and get comfortable? And he's doting on Christine. He's being real sweet. And on the way over, he was holding hands with her. And you don't see him holding hands with her ever. Is there anything I can do for you? Is your back sore? I just want you to be comfortable. This is the nicest I have ever seen him treat Christine. Kody says she's my 13th child and it's the 13th. They've decided they want to have the baby today because of that. And Dr. Bean, who has the best bedside manner, says, I'm cool with it. Kody says, it's like Christmas Day is here. I'm so excited. So he's just being so nice to Christine. He has the ability to be nice to her. He just doesn't ever want to, I guess. It shows the nurse saying, okay, let's put the baby on the monitor. And Kody is helping find the heartbeat of the baby with the monitor. And he finds the heartbeat. And he says, am I an ace or what? Christine says, you can be a doctor now. She's still stroking his ego. Anyway, the nurse is talking about doing a lot of polygamous deliveries. She says that her family has some polygamy in it. It shows him on the couch. And Janelle says, in our culture, home birth is a common thing. Robyn says that's because when you go to the hospital, they want all this information. The dad is sitting there trying to protect his identity because he can't be known to have more than one wife. Janelle says, I mean, if the husband goes to jail, then it is a problem. And notes to self, Melanie says that this idea is so antiquated. Nobody at the hospital cares. They just ask who the dad is and they get a cool bracelet. That's the end of it. That's the end of it. The nurse doesn't care. Dr. Bean doesn't care. Nobody cares. They can put the dad's name on the birth certificate all day long. There's nobody in a little office somewhere doing a reference of every birth certificate out there to see who all's the father of who. They don't have people doing that. The only reason they use home births, yeah, maybe in the past they were worried about protecting the identities and keeping dads out of jail, but those days are over. And that's something about this family is they're always so worried that they're going to be judged and prejudiced against because they're polygamous. And the whole series of the show, you never see anybody saying, oh, we hate them, we're not going to do anything for them, don't give them this, don't give them that. Nobody says that. At the end of the day, nobody cares. Nobody cares. And so they're just putting forth all this effort into protecting their identity, and they're putting forth all this effort for nothing. The real reason that they use home births is because most of these people don't have health insurance. They can't afford to have hospital stays. And AUB people have tons of midwives that do this all the time. So that's why they do the home births. 9 times out of 10, it's because they don't want to pay a hospital. That's what all it is. So then it goes on to Dr. Bean is agreeing to induce her. They agree to use Pitocin, which helps speed up the contractions. Christine says, I'm not really progressing as much as I usually am. Usually I deliver when I'm 2 to 4 days late, and now I'm a week. She's really high, and there's no guarantee that she's going to become lower. There's still a ways to go, so that's why they decide to go on the Pitocin. It shows Christine in the bed, and then the camera scans over to the left, and Kody's texting on his phone. And the minute he realizes the camera's on him, he flips his phone shut and puts it in a little side holder. And then the shot goes to Robyn at her house, and she's looking at the phone. It kind of insinuated that he was texting her because she's looking at the phone the same time as he's texting. Robyn says, you guys, I have an announcement. Guess what? Your mom is having her baby today. Savannah starts yelling, no school for me. And I think that's because Christine was her teacher. So, of course, there's no school for her. Her teacher is going to be out. That's all Savannah seems to care about. This cute, cute child. That's all she cared about. Kody says, I wonder if I should go home, change my clothes, get your stuff. Christine says, get Aspen. And the time on the wall now says 2:16 p.m. How many times a day do y'all change clothes? I don't understand. Are there people out there? Is it just me, or are there people out there that change their clothes 2 and 3 times a day? I mean, when I wake up, the clothes I put on stay on until I go back to bed. I don't understand people who change their clothes as much as Kody changes his clothes. By home, he doesn't mean the big house. He means Robyn's house. Technically, they aren't supposed to be married, so why would his clothes be there? That doesn't make any sense. They're supposed to still be engaged. And Aspen's not there. And Christine's clothes sure aren't there. Why would Christine's clothes be at Robyn's house? But yeah, let's go to Robyn's house. Why not? So you're sitting here saying you need to go get a change of clothes, pick up stuff, and get Aspen, and none of that is supposed to be at Robyn's house. So what is your butt doing at Robyn's house? We all know what he was doing at Robyn's house. The nurse is now encouraging Christine to sit on the ball to get more comfortable. And Christine said, this experience has been good so far in the hospital, and I'm really pleasantly shocked. So I think about all of my home births, and I wonder, have I made a mistake? She's talking about how easy it is in the hospital. Kody's at Robyn's house. For what, we don't know. And in Christine's new book, she says, I don't know why he went to Robyn's house either. I guess to see how she felt about me delivering a baby. I don't know. Christine calls Kody and says, so my water just broke. So yeah, hurry. And she says, so yeah, hurry. So Robyn takes this opportunity to start offering Kody, do you want something to take with you? I got trail mix, granola bars. Kody's like, no, I need to go. And Robyn's still listing all the stuff in her kitchen. She seems to be stalling. She doesn't want him to go. She's not helping him get out the door and not helping him hurry at all. And you can see Kody and Robyn make eye contact, like he looks directly at her for a few seconds. There's a few podcasts that thinks that he was trying to say, come follow me outside, which she did. We all know that she did, because the next thing that happens is she follows him out the door and she shuts the door behind her, but he's still got her microphone on. And the closed captioning says smooches, which means they're kissing on each other. And Kody says, and I quote, they ain't got a clue. Meaning the cameras, meaning his wives. Why would he say they ain't got a clue? The cameraman opens the door and catches them kissing. And they immediately separate, and Kody initially starts to run away, but then he comes back. You know, you don't really hear Christine talk about this much. And that goes back to my conspiracy theory that I think they're already married. And so that's why Christine doesn't really bother her. And if my theory is wrong and they aren't married, and Christine is in labor, and she just spent half of an episode talking about how much this hurt her feelings that Kody was kissing on Robyn, because she was not brought up that way and it's not right, and she freaked out and it hurt her feelings so bad. And so here they are while she's in labor, and she just got off the phone with him and said, please hurry. And he's kissing on Robyn. Then that's wrong. And what's he even doing at her house? Have I discussed this? Anyway, I think that Robyn loves the idea, and it really turns her on, sneaking around with Kody. I think she loves that. And I was looking at it, and they call it mate poaching. She loves that. She loves to think about the fact that somebody else needs Kody, but he's there with her. Mate poaching, forbidden fruit. They say that can make her feel like it's a victory. She's winning someone away. She loves the competition. Why else was she delaying him by trying to offer him snacks and going out there and kissing on him and stopping him? And she just loves that crap. You know, he shouldn't be over there at all. And I didn't know if I was going to share this or not, but this is another theory that I have. There's a podcast that's called Sister Wives, and they quit airing in 2023, but they were pretty good. I never knew why they stopped airing, but there was two sisters that would talk about the show, and they had some pretty good perspectives. There's this theory, they ran to Vegas in January, but they were being brought up for investigation in September. The fact that they're running in January has always been suspicious, because they knew about this investigation in September. So why did they run in January? And there's this theory out there that they ran in January because Robyn wanted to go to Vegas. And who's in Vegas? Stepdaddy Paul and her mama. And she wanted her kids to start out the new school year in Vegas next to her family. And she wanted to get pregnant. And that's why they went to Vegas. So either she was pregnant when they moved or that she got pregnant immediately after they moved, because the girl on Sister Wives, she's a nurse, and she backtracked from the day that Solomon was born back to when she could have conceived, and it was right in those 2-3 weeks that they moved. So either she knew she was pregnant or she was ready to get pregnant. And if she did get pregnant, she got pregnant while they were all living in the one little rental house in Vegas. Remember when they first moved there, they were all in one place together until they could find rentals to separate out. They didn't stay there long, but they did stay there. That was a period of time that Robyn had to have conceived Solomon. So Robyn and Kody were probably in the same house with the rest of the wives, and she got pregnant. Because that's my theory, is that she loves the fact that these other women need him and that his time is needed elsewhere. And she loves that he's spending time with her. They got to Vegas in time for her to get pregnant and for her kids to start a new school. And lo and behold, she had a rental house before everybody else did. They found one right away for Robyn. I bet you they did. And it was in the school district that the kids were going to go to. Isn't that convenient? That's another conspiracy theory I have. Kody and Robyn are kissing at the front door. He separates. He walks off. He comes back and he says, "The camera follows me." And I'm like, dude, I got a wife in labor. I'm not going to be sitting here kissing my girlfriend. It's just awkward. So then the clock on the wall in Christine's room says 3:35 p.m. and Aspen's there now. You remember Avril Lavigne with that heavy eye makeup and the hairstyle, and it was kind of cool back in the day. But her and Madison are rocking that look, that Avril Lavigne look. Christine is sitting up. She's getting her epidural, and Kody says, "Did you dull those needles on purpose?" He just thinks he's being funny. She's already probably nervous because she's never had an epidural before. He's talking about dull needles. And then he kisses her right on the lips, right after he just got through kissing Robyn. Like, come on, man. No wonder the mouth sores and the herpes on the lips just keeps going around and around. Then we go back to Robyn's house, and all the little girls are in the living room playing, and there's this dollhouse. And Robyn says, "This dollhouse has been my dream forever since I was a little girl, and my dad made it. And I've been saving doll furniture since Brianna was a little baby. When I first started the whole thing, it was just my 2 girls, and now I've got more girls that come play." She says they have 4 mommy dolls and 1 daddy doll, and they've been fighting over which mommy dolls they want to play with. And it shows Brianna holding up her little doll and says, "This is my mommy," and she is so cute, and she is so happy. She loved playing with all those girls. What happened? I mean, what happened? They went from playing so well and being so happy to all of a sudden, they never liked me, and crying on the couch, and little mini Robyn in the future. Anyway, Gwen, if you watch her real close, she's making the dolls kiss. We all did that when we were playing Barbie dolls growing up. And then she takes the little Janelle Barbie doll and she's banging the Janelle's little Barbie doll and is banging her head up against the wall. Bang, 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 bang. Like, Gwen, oh my God. They said we had the Kody doll and they were fighting over who gets to play with that. And Robyn says, "I told them, you know how your dad gets to come to each one of the different houses and spend a little bit of time. And you guys have to take turns with the daddy doll." Did you hear that? She says, "You guys have to take turns with the daddy doll." And I wonder, do they? Is that how you play house, Robyn? That's not what comes out in real life. You don't play house like that. So then we get back to the hospital, and Kody is asking, "So who would you recommend for a fertility doctor if we wanted to do in vitro fertilization?" This man. I keep telling you, he don't care about Christine, but I mean, he just keeps doing crap like this. And Dr. Bean says, "For who?" And Kody says, "Because I've got a wife that only has one." And Dr. Bean says, "One ovary?" No. Kody says, "No, just one kid. That's the business I'm in, is kids." And Christine says, "While I'm here in labor, that's classy." And she's right. Like, why are you talking about Meri now? You just went and hung out with Robyn. Now you're talking about Meri, and I'm the one having the baby, and you're talking about everybody else but me. Kody says Meri and Christine have always had a close relationship. Have they? Have they? I don't know about that. Dr. Bean says, yeah, that's kind of weird. So then it goes back to Janelle and Robyn, and they're standing in Robyn's living room, and she says, so we just sort of planned to bring everybody to see the baby, but it's going to be so late, and I don't know if the hospital is going to really want us to bring 20 people in. Janelle didn't think this is a good idea, and I kind of don't think it's a good idea either. Because we're getting into like 8 o'clock at night and you're bringing 20 kids into the hospital, which they're probably making an exception for you. And everybody has to put on armbands to get onto the secure floor of the hospital. It really is a pain. And Christine is probably going to be home within the next 48 hours. She had a fairly easy delivery and there's no reason why she would stay any longer than that. I'm with Janelle on this one. Do we really can't we just wait for her to come home? You see Robyn standing next to Janelle. Just today, I was looking at it and I was taking pictures and I was trying to get stuff together for my YouTube video. And you can see plain as day underneath Robyn's shirt she's wearing, you can see her garments. That notes to self Melanie talked about. And these garments are given in the temple ceremony of the sealing. It says the garment is given as part of the washing and anointing portion of the endowment and is worn under the temple robes during the sealing ceremonies. So she is wearing a garment that has been given to her after a sealing. You don't see her wear it in the earlier episodes, but when they moved her up here, you can see that she starts to wear those double shirts and she wears scarves. And if you look, I posted a picture on the YouTube, you can clearly see the outline of those garments. So that was one of the reasons why we thought that they might be married. Janelle goes into, Christine really does kind of hold things together for me as far as the children. So Robyn, especially now, has started to help out a lot because you can see that Janelle has just come home from work and she's picking her kids up from Robyn's house. We look at the clock, it's now showing 7:20 in Christine's room. And I don't know if you know anything about shift work in hospitals, L&D nurses, floor nurses, ER nurses, they all work 12-hour shifts. Very rarely do they work 8-hour shifts anymore. And the reason for that is because if you work a 12-hour shift, you only have to work 3 or 4 days a week. You don't have to work Monday through Friday. And your days off are your days off. It's really nice. So Christine decides to have her baby at 7:20, which is frustrating when you work shift work in a hospital. It's like, come on. You had 12 hours to have this baby and now you're going to wait until shift change. So the person coming in for night shift immediately has to start working right away. Can't really transition into work. They have to start doing stuff to get in there where Christine is, where she's finally decided to have her baby. But that's what I thought about when I saw that 7:20 p.m. Their nurse's name is Pamela. She stays through the whole thing. She stays, so she stayed overtime to stay with these people. And it's probably easier for her just to stay than to get the night nurse to sign the paperwork and do all the stuff to be on TV, because now this one nurse is now staying over for them. Then it shows Janelle walking out to the car. This is mentioned a lot, and I have a picture of it on the YouTube video, but Janelle's window is held up by packing tape. I thought it was duct tape, but I think it's just clear packing tape. And the reason for that is probably because her window won't stay up. It probably falls down into the door. And so her window is being held up by packing tape. And if you notice, Hayden is in the car now, and he's over in the passenger side. And Janelle tries to open the door, and it doesn't open. And Peyton has to reach over and open the door for her. And this right here makes me think that whole door is probably messed up, because my daughter, who's in college, has this Honda CRV we bought this thing for her, and it had over 200,000 miles on it. I mean, it had all these problems, but she was just a high school kid when we bought it. We weren't going to buy her a brand new car. Kids don't deserve brand new cars. It's hard enough for an adult to get a brand new car, much less a kid. So we got her the cheapest, safest car we could find. And that car that she has right now in college, if you want to open the passenger side door, it's on the other side of her car. You have to get in on the driver's side door and you have to open it because that door is broken. So you have to open it over there. And I am wondering if her entire door is messed up and Peyton has to open the door for her, because that's what we have to do in my daughter's car. If somebody rides with her, she's got to open that door from the inside. It don't open from the outside. So that's another thing to add to the list. Somebody's got to get on the other side and open the door for her. So I thought that was interesting. That just drives me crazy as to why she's driving this funky car and Kody's driving something else, but we'll talk about that later. So she gets in the car and she takes them back to her house. So now it's 8:05 in the hospital room, and Janelle says that Christine just called and she's getting ready to deliver, and she's going to start the heavy duty pushing, and then she wants us to load everybody up in about half an hour. She says I got to call Robyn and coordinate with her, and they'll all go over there together. The nurse says, yeah, next time you feel that pressure, you're going to do it, so we know that it's going to be soon. This is Pamela, the nurse that is still there at 8:05. So now she's getting into over an hour past her 12-hour shift. And it shows Kody gowning up and putting on sterile gloves. And sterile gloves, once you put them on, you're not supposed to touch nothing else. And here he is raking his hands across the rails, touching over everything. Like, why did they waste those sterile gloves on him? He looks at Christine and he says, Christine, be sure to breathe. Over and over again, like he's some kind of labor and delivery guru. So he says, don't forget to breathe. This breathing speech he gives to the wives in labor drives me nuts. And when he says, relax your face, that drives me nuts because I feel like that's a keep sweet kind of thing in polygamy. Like they don't want them to look like they're in pain. They don't want them to grunt and groan and push out a baby acting like they're in pain. It's that whole relax your face, relax your face. Makes me want to kick him where the sun don't shine and say, relax your face, man, relax your face. Breathe. He don't know what these women are going through. They don't shut up. Come on now. Maybe if he gets a 99.8 temp and just tell him to relax his face and breathe. You know how he acts at the slightest inclination of being uncomfortable. So then he continues to say, make sure you breathe. And then the baby's born. Kody grabs the baby and puts it on her belly with his unsterile gloves. And it's so sweet because Christine says, oh my gosh, Aspen, where are you, honey? She looks just like you. She looks like you. And I think that's so sweet. Christine's so sweet. It shows Kody cutting the cord with his unsterile gloves. And then they say that Truly weighs 7 pounds, 11 ounces. And then the video slows down and the piano music comes on. And it shows Kody holding the baby. It shows Kody and Aspen smiling at each other. In this moment, as much as I don't like Kody, you could see that he did love his kids. And he loved his family. It shows Kody and Aspen having a moment really connecting over this baby. And it just makes me so mad that all of that just went to the wayside. Because you could see here, he had his moments. He was a good father sometimes. Aspen says, my mom giving birth was kind of weird. I didn't really see anything because I just saw the head coming out. And then I looked away and I was like, I don't want to see anything else. I'm scared. So Janelle says, okay guys, Aspen just texted. Christine had her baby. And then Robyn says, you guys, Christine had her baby. Let's get ready to go. And Meri says, when you have 20 people, that's pretty much chaos. And Robyn says, I have to say, brown chaos is very special. And again, why are we doing this? Christine's probably going to be home the day after tomorrow. I don't know why we're hauling all these kids up there in the middle of the night. Meri's kind of overwhelmed. She's like, okay, quiet. You want to see your sister? Let's all be quiet when we walk in here. Janelle says, when we all got out of the car, I sort of felt like we were this mass of people about to overtake the hospital. And the nurse says, who's been there for 14 hours now, you guys would have really been bummed if it was like 5 minutes past midnight. 12:05. So the baby was born on the 13th. Janelle says, I guess all the children have seemed like my children, so it's like me just expecting another child without having to do all the work. And they're showing pictures of Truly, like old technology alert, pictures of Truly on these tiny little flip phone screens. I remember that. But everybody's got flip phones, but Kody has a Motorola Droid with a retractable keyboard. So you know he had the best phone. And then Robyn says, I was glowing. I felt sparkly. I felt like this is a family. And it made me excited that I was joining in the family. So I was glowing. I felt sparkly. I felt like this is a family. And I was excited to be joining the family. Do you see what I'm getting at here? And then it shows Isabel putting Truly in the crib. Little bitty Isabel is putting Truly in the crib. But by now, in this video, it looks like Truly's about 4 or 5 months along. She is not an infant anymore. And then the camera zooms in on Truly, and Truly's playing with the camera. And it really brings it home that this child grew up. from day one on camera. And she's got her hand on the camera screen and she's just so cute. So that's the end of that episode. And so now this is a portion of the podcast where I come up with a tell-all question. And this is my tell-all question. It's going to be for Kody. Do you think maybe if you had traded in your sissy midlife crisis car, you could get yourself and Janelle sensible cars, or at least get Janelle a car with a working window and a working door? Or maybe now you could move Robyn out of that rental house and went in with the rest of the family and use that money to get Janelle's window fixed? I just don't understand. Poor Janelle, she's the one that makes most of the money, and she's sitting here having to hold her window up with packing tape. And in the new book, Christine says that they bought Kody's car with TLC money. There was something saying maybe it was a gift. It was not a gift. Christine says in one episode that they bought the car in a good year, and then in her book it says they bought that car with TLC money. He chose to buy that car that's for $60,000, getting him and Janelle reliable, dependable cars. I don't understand that. But that would be my question to Kody. One other thing I wanted to talk about, after I made my first podcast, it took about 2 days, but I was watching the analytics of the podcast, and any podcaster knows what that means is how many views you had and how long people watched it, and nothing was happening. It was just 0, 0, 0. And this lady named Adeline Gilstad, she was my very first subscriber, and she wrote, "You are very funny. I like your style. Keep them coming, please." And I sat right here in this chair and I just started crying because I had spent so much time coming up with my first podcast and figuring out how to do it and getting the microphones and trying to get the best sound and editing for hours and hours and hours and trying to figure out how to edit because I didn't know how to do that. And I'm like, I have just wasted all this time and nobody likes me. But Adeline Gilstead said that. And I just want to say thank you, Adeline. I really appreciate it. It really made me feel so good. I am going to keep them coming because I do enjoy this. And I just want to say thank you. Very first subscriber, Adeline. Thank you, Adeline. That's it for today. If you like my podcast, please like, comment, and subscribe. And if you want to reach me, you can always reach me at redflagrewatch@gmail.com. Thank you for joining me today. See you next time. What do you call a French man wearing sandals? Philippe Flop. Let me say that again because it took me a second to get it too. He says, what do you call a French man wearing sandals? Philippe Flop. Flip flop.